Hi there, and welcome to your 2022 Surveyor 240 BHLE. We're going to start off in the back bumper here. Just pull this cap out. You're going to find your sewer hose. When fully extended, it's about 20 feet long. And just take note of these ears here. Those are going to be the ears that connect to your sewer hose outlet. Right up from there, you do have your power cord. Take note of that ear there. It just connects with that ear on the plug side of the trailer. You're just going to line those up, stick it in, give it that 8th turn, and then you got the threaded collar to really lock that down. Follow that back, you're going to come to your standard 30 amp plug end. Most campsites should have this, and you should just be able to plug right on in. If they don't have this, we do also include a 15 amp park adapter, so that if you want, even when you're at home and if you want to run your fridge, you could do so. Just keep it in mind you are going down to 15 amps of power, so you aren't going to be able to run things like your air conditioner. In each corner of the trailer, you do have a stabilizer jack. Stabilizer jack, you're just going to have a tool that's located in the front compartment. I'll show you in a second. You run this down to the ground, you give it another 8th turn to snug it up, and it's just going to take any sway and bounce out of the unit that you see that's in it right now. Come a little further down the unit, and right here you do have your sewer outlet. Just take note of the 2 ears here. They were the same 2 ears that were on your sewer hose. They just line up with those notches. Throw it on there, turn it, snugs it up. You got a black valve and a gray valve. Your black valve is going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilet, so you're going to want to empty that one first. And then you can empty your gray valve, which is your more clean water, which is going to be from your showers and sinks. Up from here, you do have a black tank flush. So let's say you emptied the black tank, you know for a fact it's empty, but your monitor panel is still reading 1/3, 2/3 are full. You just hook up your garden hose to this outlet, turn it on with your sewer connected and your tank open, and it'll kind of flush out the tank a little bit, flushing out those probes, getting rid of any smell a little bit. Right up from there, you just have a cable satellite inlet. Right next to that, you do have your city water connection. If you're at a site with service, hook garden hose up to here, turn it on, pressurizes the lines. No need to run that water pump. A little further down, you do have your fresh water fill. Stick garden hose in there. It fills up the tank underneath the unit. As soon as your fresh, that's what your water pump draws off of. Right down from there, you do have your fresh water drain. It's just this little valve here. You just give that a turn. Water will come out if the tank has water in it. Right here, you do have your hot water heater access port. You flip that open. You got this little brass pressure relief valve. You're always just going to want to give that a pull. There should be a shot of water that comes out of there whenever the tank is full. If you don't get any shot of water, chances are it's empty. You're not going to want to fire it up because you run the risk of burning out the probes inside there. And then right here, you just have this 1/16" drain bolt. You loosen this off, and it'll drain your hot water tank if you're leaving it for the winter or leaving it for an extended period of time. You don't want that water to go stale. Inside here is where you are going to find your tool I told you about to lower your jacks, as well as the override tool to do your front tongue jack. If your battery dies or your tongue jack stops working, you can try this. It's a manual override. I'll show you how to use that in a second. At the front of the unit here, you got your battery box as well as your battery disconnect. With the battery disconnect on, the batteries are connected. With the battery disconnect, with the battery disconnect on, the batteries are disconnected. With the battery disconnect off, the batteries are connected. And then right under here, you do have your propane tanks. You can normally just access them from right here, but for the point of this video, I'll take this right off. This thing right here, it is your little selector valve. So right now the arrow is pointing this way, so you're going to be drawing off this tank. Let's say this tank were to run low or empty. You can switch it over to this side, and then it'll now run off this tank. So you can disconnect this tank, get it filled. just like home. So you turn that on, it goes green, just telling you got propane running through it. Your front tongue jack, you got up and down, and as well as a little light underneath there. You take this cap off, that's where you're going to stick that tool I showed you there, and there's a little nut in there, and it'll either turn it, one way will turn it, bring it up, and one way will bring it down. Just inside this compartment is more storage. Right here we do have your furnace exhaust. You're always going to keep in mind you don't want to keep this blocked whenever you're running the furnace because it does blow hot air and it can burn things. And then right up from there you do have your range hood vent. So right now it is open, and that's the way you're going to want to keep it when you get to your site. But whenever you're traveling, you just want to close that flap. They just close in the little grooves there. There you go. There's one. And there's two. And then that just prevents any dust from getting inside the unit as you're traveling. Cable satellite outlet here, as well as a 110 plug. In here, we do have your exterior kitchen. So you're going to pull that out. You got this tray that slides out. That's just a little side table. Your sink would go in here, and your stove would come on here. You also have a 110 mini fridge inside here. Put some drinks or whatever else you want to keep inside there. Just keep it in mind that that fridge is not running whenever you're traveling. It's only running whenever you're plugged in. Right here, you do have your little quick connect for your garden sprayer. Now, all that stuff is packed away inside here. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get that out for you as there's already items inside this trailer. If you come at the back of the trailer, you are pre-wired for an observation camera. You do get a ladder to go check up on your roof and a spare tire, as well as this little door that does give you access to the bunk area. This little bunk piece does fold up if you were to want to use it for bikes or you're not using the bottom bunk for anything. To get inside the unit, you're just going to take that assist handle, pull it up, fold it 90 degrees. The door will pop on open. You take this little blue lever, pull it, unlocks the stairs, allowing them to fold down. See these little silver tabs here? If you're at a campsite and you need to either raise or lower the feet for the stairs to sit properly, you just push this button in and it just locks into a bunch of different channels. So you do have the option to adjust the stairs as you need them. If you take a step on inside on your right, you do get your fire extinguisher. That's simple. Pull the pin and shoot. Also, on your other side, you get storage. On the left, on the right, on the wall, on your far right is your interior light button. Then you have your porch light and your awning LED. And then right next to that is your slide out button. So you push that button, hold it out. The slide out's going to start making its way out. Once the slide out's fully extended, you're going to hear the whines of the motor and the clicking. As soon as you hear the clicking, let go as you're fully extended. There you go. You heard those clicks. You know it's fully extended. Right here, you do have your awning extend. So you hit that, the awning's going to start making its way out. You're going to know that awning's fully extended when you see the little flap hang down in the back of the metal tube. There you go, there's that flap, and then there's the back of the metal tube. So you're fully extended. Now, if it does start raining and you want that water to drain off, you're just going to grab any arm, front or rear, and give it a pull down, and it changes the pitch of the awning head, allowing water to then run off and not pool in the middle. Now, if you do like that angle of the awning better as it allows for more shade, you can do the same thing to both arms and it'll sit lower, but always making sure that you lift those arms back to straight before you bring the awning in. That way you don't run the risk of bending anything. Whenever you're bringing the awning in, just making sure that that fabric's rolling in the right way. There you go, that's awning is fully in. Now, right next to that, you do have your radio control. That's going to be simple, just like home. You got a power button, skip, pause, mute, your volume up and down. But then you have zone 1 and zone 2. So zone 1 is going to be interior speakers and zone 2 is going to be exterior speakers. And then right up from there, you do have your solar controller. There's not a whole lot you have to worry about here. The only thing you're going to worry about is you're going to change from your battery types, your different battery types, and then you can change it between, if you did have batteries connected to this unit, you could change between the amps it's currently at and the volts it's currently at. Now, to get to the bed, you just take this couch, grab it at the foot of the couch, and it folds out there nice. And then you just have a little travel latch here that you got to pull. Down comes the main bed. Now, inside the main bedroom, you do have a cup holder on each side, as well as that nice window. And then on each side of the bed, on the little end tables here, you do have plug-ins and regular plug-ins and USB plug-ins on each side, as well as nice closet space on each side. To get that bed back up, it's just the same thing. Folding it up, pulling that latch, locking it in place, and then you just grab the foot of the bed, fold it up, and you just kind of got to grab the back of the couch to assist it in, and it folds down nice. This window here is the fire exit. So you see this little red tab, you're just going to pull that. Screen's going to pop out. Grab your handle, push it out. Out you go. Kitchen area, you do have a sink with hot and cold water. Your TV is up here on the wall. There is a switch down below there to turn on your pre-wired for Wi-Fi. That is to turn on the Wi-Fi if you were to get it. And then up from there, you do have your coax or your satellite inlet. There's a little button. That button turns on that green light. That green light's just letting you know that the satellite is on, and it will allow for better radio frequency as well. In the kitchen area, now you have your stove. So the stove does this little button here, just turns on the light. The light's on the knob and the light inside the oven. Get that stove to light. You're just going to want to gently fold back that glass cover. You turn it to high and you hit the igniter. But whenever you first get out to your campsite, if you haven't had your propane on in a while, sometimes it can take a while to get the air out of the lines. So just give it a second and keep trying. Should come on any second now. There we go. Lights up. Now they get the stove to light. You're going to turn this little dial to, there's like a little fire symbol on the top there. Going to turn it to that, push that button in. And that spark, the same thing you use to fire up the stove, you'll use to fire up the oven. Just the oven one takes a little bit longer to get going. Like I said, when you first fire up propane to the unit, it does take a minute to get that all the air out of the lines. There you go. You get that pilot light, hold it for a second, and then you can just turn it up to your desired temperature and it fires right on up. Now right here, you do have your fridge. So turn your fridge on. You just hit that power button. You're going to hold it for a second. You're going to get that beep. You got your temperature button. So this basically it turns it plus is up, minus is down. Now with this button active, you're going to be changing the temperature of your freezer. And with this button active, you're going to be changing the temperature of your fridge. Excuse me. To turn it off, you just hold that button again, and it's going to turn itself off. Inside the bunk area here, each bunk does have a little light on the wall here, as well as a USB plug-in, and the top bunk has its own fire exit. Down below, like I said, you do have that door at the back here. You fold this up, and you do get access to it. And then you have your bathroom inside here, where you're going to have your main GFI plug-in. So you got test on the bottom, reset on the top. Whenever that green light's on, that just means it's good. And then you have your monitor panel. So you got your battery. So we're currently C for charging. G would be good, fair, and low. And then you have fresh, black, and gray, just going from empty, a third, 2/3, and full. Now, you have your water pump switch. So you turn that on. It's going to turn your water pump, which draws from your fresh water tank. Then you have your electric water heater option and your gas water heater option. Whenever you turn the gas water heater option on, you're going to get this light turns on. The gas heater is going to try and fire itself up 3 times. If on the third try it doesn't fire up, this little fault light's going to stay on. At that point, you're just going to turn it off and then back on to reset it. And you do have a little storage under here, as well as storage inside the medicine cabinet. Hot and cold water in the shower. Your light switch is on your left. And then you do have your little ceiling fan. You just got to open that up. And the power button is on the far corner there. If you look just right behind you here, you do have your little fuse panel, breaker panel. Whenever a breaker pops, it's going to sit in the middle, so you just got to turn it off and then back on to reset it. And then whenever you have a fuse that pops, there'll be a little red indicator light telling you which one is popped. And then on this wall here, you do have your thermostat. You hit that button once, it's just going to light itself up. Hit that button again, you're going to get into fan low. So at this point, it's just going to be moving air around, no cooling involved. And then you get the fan high, so that's just high fan moving the air around. Then you get cool high, so now cooling's involved and it's on full time. Same thing with cool low, just on low fan. And now you get into cool low auto. So now it becomes an on-demand system. Once it reaches its temperature, it's going to turn off like it just did. And then cool high auto, same thing on high fan. And then you get into heat. When you turn your heat on, just keep in mind it is ran on propane, but propane's heavier than air. You do have an LP detector right down here. If that ever starts going off, you're always just going to want to go to the front of the unit, turn the propane tank off, open up all the windows, turn on the fans in here, trying to get those fumes out. Whenever the heater's on, it is just moving its heat through all the portals that you see around the unit. And then you get to the dinette area. Nice light up here, just on its own little center push button. And then this can turn into a bed. You just have to take these metal feet. They just come out of their sockets. The table is going to sit on these little ledges. You take your 2 back cushions to fill in the center, and you have an extra little bed. I forgot to tell you, whenever you do turn that furnace off, it is going to automatically run for about 3 minutes before it turns off, just for it to cool down, so don't panic there. That's about it for this unit here. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call.